What is going on, Washington fans? Welcome to A to Z Sports Washington. It's your boy, Josh Taylor. And I mean, did we expect all of this to happen on the second day of the offseason? What a start, man. A lot of bombshells out of Washington, obviously, and around the entire league. And that's why I push this. I usually go live on Monday nights. Obviously, we had the team press conference last night, and I was like, I'm going to wait. And sure enough, it was well worth it. So I said, we're going to do this on Tuesday night. And I did not know they were going to do all these firings and stuff like that. So this worked out perfectly. But man, first off, I just want to say, this is why I love the offseason. I love the chaos. I love everything that comes with it. If you've been following me for a while now, you know the offseason is where I thrive. One, because, I mean, growing up, I didn't have a team to root for in the playoffs. Like, we were all looking for the offseason. And, of course, that's where we are right now once again for the Commanders. So welcome to the stream. Blow up the chat if you have any questions, comments, concerns, whatever. Let me know. I am trying to keep up with everything on my phone, on Twitter and stuff like that. But feel free, if you see anything happen, anything go down, Washington related, not Washington related, go ahead and put it in the comments in case I miss it, and I'll be sure to bring it up. But man, what a busy day! I mean, I thought today was going to be a little bit easier, but obviously Kliff Kingsbury is gone. Joe Whitt Jr. is gone. We can celebrate that one. But oh man, let's get to it. Sammy Davis Jr. said, "Crazy best OC fit." So I'm working on an article right now. It's going to drop in the morning just because it's been crazy today. I got a top 5 and I got my favorite. I don't really want to spoil it, but just throwing stuff out there. I mean, just listening to Dan Quinn last night and like what he said he's looking for in coaching, and possible candidates and stuff like that. This is before he even fired Kliff. He was just talking about, like, obviously the ugly thing to do would just to be promote Brian Johnson or promote Anthony Lynn. Like, for me, I think that's inexcusable. Like, that's the most lame duck, safest thing that Dan Quinn could do, and I'd be sick to my stomach. I think that would be the most boneheaded move with his job on the line. Just playing it safe like that, like, he can't do that. Obviously, the big ones are going to be like Brian Daboll, Kevin Stefanski, if he doesn't get a head coaching job. The thing is, though, it's a double-edged sword for Dan Quinn. Does he want to hire someone who has previous head coaching experience, someone that could potentially take his spot? If he's not doing well and this coordinator does really well next season, but Dan Quinn's struggling, like, does he want to hire somebody that could potentially take his place? But then also, as an offensive coordinator, if I'm interviewing for these spots, whether it's in Tennessee, whether it's in Las Vegas, so it says John Harbaugh, who was just fired minutes ago as well, is expected to be the favorite for the head coaching job of the New York Giants. I mean, he's going to be the favorite for everybody, but obviously the Giants will have a lot of interest in John Harbaugh. But back to what I was saying about Washington, if I'm a candidate, do I want to interview somewhere where I know Dan Quinn might get fired after this season? Like, it's not like a secret. Dan Quinn's on the hot seat. Dan Quinn, his seat is scorched right now. If I'm a younger offensive guy, probably, but it depends. Like, if I'm in a good situation, say I'm in Seattle or whoever, obviously Clint Kubiak's not coming here, but like, just say I'm in a good situation right now. Do I want to leave my good situation where I can interview for head coaching positions? If it's not this offseason, it might be next offseason. But do I want to leave that good situation and risk it on the Commanders? I know they have Jayden Daniels. They have Tim. That don't mean shit. I'm going to be honest with you. Yes, Jayden is a great quarterback. Jayden is an asset that, someone's going to want to work with. But outside of Jayden, we ain't got shit. I'm going to be honest with you. But when it comes to putting my career on the line, Jayden Daniels don't mean shit to me. For me, it's job security, but also like upside. Could I potentially take Dan Quinn's spot after this season? Like, is that even a possibility? So if you want to think about top offensive coordinators and, you have to kind of think of it from that way. Do I want to risk it? Because if I don't have a chance of taking Dan Quinn's spot and say he does get fired and they hire an outside guy, then I'm gone after one season. And I don't want that. Then I'm scrambling. I'm trying to save, I'm trying to get somewhere, land on my feet again. When I was just at this really good spot, I left it for Washington and it didn't work out. Like, for me, it's just a big gamble. So there's the good side of it, and there's the bad side of it. But if you think, hey, I am good enough to be a head coach, if Dan Quinn gets fired, I know I can take that team over, then cool. Then I'd be all for it. So it really depends on a candidate basis. Like I said, Brian Daboll, for instance, does he believe that he could be the head coach of the Commanders if he comes here as the offensive coordinator, works with Jayden, does a great job, the offense is clicking, but Dan Quinn is struggling in game. Like, they're still losing games. They missed the playoffs next year, but the offense was great. Jayden was healthy. Terry was healthy. They added weapons the offseason. The offense was not the problem. The defense sucked again. Dan Quinn's decision makings were struggling again. If it gets to that, and I'm Brian Daboll, do I think I could take over next season? So just keep that in mind. But there's a lot. I mean, I have a list on my phone of offensive coordinator guys. Kevin Stefanski, Davis Webb, Thomas Brown, Josh McCown's a popular one. Bobby Slowick, Brian Daboll, already mentioned, Frank Smith, Darrell Bevel, Clay Kubiak's not going to come here for sure. Mike Kafka, who's with the Giants right now, the interim head coach. Brian Fleury over in San Francisco. I think he's the passing coordinator and tight ends coach right now. And then Tommy Reese, who was the offensive coordinator with the Browns. But like I said, I'm going to do, as soon as I hop off of here later, I'm going to finish up the article, and that's going to go out first thing in the morning, and I'll have my favorite for sure. But there's a lot of candidates that I do like. The move that Quinn is making must be a home run. Otherwise, he is out as the head coach forever. Yeah, I think that's his final straw, and I don't even know if I'd want him as a defensive coordinator. Manners Nation JT, my guy, happy Tuesday, brother. Hope all is well. It's been a great day. This will be a short stream, nothing to talk about. Just a boring day in the NFL. What's going on, Justin? Look, I got water already. It's only been 8 minutes, and I'm already rambling the whole time. Today has been wild, absolutely. Bring me Daboll and Al Harris. I think Al Harris is going to be a favorite to go to the Cowboys. With them having a defensive coordinator position open. Obviously, he knows a lot of the players there. He had a lot of success there. The organization is going to want somebody like him, someone that they know. Once again, he had success with Dan Quinn and Joe Whitt Jr. When he was in Dallas. They created a lot of turnovers, and he's creating a lot of turnovers in Chicago. Would I like him to be the defensive coordinator? I think John Comm kind of hit on this. He said that he doesn't think Al Harris would be an option because DQ wants someone that can call plays. DQ doesn't want to call plays next year. And I don't know, and I'm kind of with him. I don't know if Al Harris is going to want, or he probably would want to call plays, but I just don't know if he's a good fit to call plays year one. And a make or break season for Dan Quinn, I just don't think Al Harris would be the fit, to be honest with you. I just don't think that's going to be the right fit. I think Al Harris's best case scenario is going somewhere as the defensive coordinator where they have a defensive head coach who's going to call the plays, and he's going to get, more experience there, and then maybe take over play calling. But I just don't see Al Harris being a fit here, to be honest with you. Bradley said today's NFL has been major shakeup, and playoffs hasn't even started yet for sure. But interviews can start taking place as soon as today for certain people. I want to say playoff people, you have to wait till like the 14th. I can't remember. Mike McDaniel, if he's fired. So about an hour ago, I would have said that Mike McDaniel, there's no way he's getting fired. Because they told him he's staying, and they told him he's helping pick the next GM in Miami. But the only thing is now with this Harbaugh domino that fell, and this links to the Commanders too. People think it's a exaggeration. People think, some people are being dramatic or something like that. But I am telling you, John Harbaugh getting fired is massive. Whether he goes to New York, whether he goes anywhere else. Sorry, I'm just looking at Twitter to see if anything goes down. I'm just keeping this live in case anything breaks, but it doesn't matter where he goes. And a lot of people have said this. As soon as this news broke, there's going to be teams that haven't fired their head coach that are going to say, hold on now, we didn't know Harbaugh was actually going to be available. So, and people have been saying, like, if your coach is on thin ice or, kind of on the hot seat, then they might take a look at Harbaugh. Because I'm telling you, the Ravens had to move on from Harbaugh, but Harbaugh is still like the best candidate this cycle by a whole, miles, galaxies. He's the number one target for every team. So a team like the Dolphins, where they're like, we're going to keep Mike McDaniel one more year, or even like Tampa Bay, we're going to keep Todd Bowles one more year. Now they're thinking, well, hold on. We didn't know, like, we heard that the Ravens could move on, but we hear shit all the time. Like, we hear stuff I'm telling you, when I'm at the Senior Bowl, I hear stuff all the time. Like 2 years ago, like when we hired Dan Quinn, I was talking to Jeremy Fowler like every day. I was like, is this real? Is this, blah, blah, blah. And you hear stuff all the time. But for it to actually happen, for Harbaugh to actually get fired, teams like, hold on. This changes everything. Maybe Mike McDaniel gets fired now. Maybe Todd Bowles gets fired now. Maybe Dan Quinn's job has to be reevaluated now that Harbaugh is available. I'm just saying that's the kind of domino that Harbaugh was that just fell. So yes, this shifts a lot. And I'm sure I'll do an article about that, and I'll do the domino effect and how Harbaugh's firing can really impact the Commanders. But I'm telling you, just the landscape of the NFL from yesterday to today and right now after Harbaugh is completely different, because that kind of hire doesn't just pop up. That's like, I don't want to say like Patrick Mahomes, but that's like, I don't know. That's like Justin Herbert being available for a trade. It just doesn't happen. Someone that shouldn't be available, but they are for whatever reason. I'm not saying the Chargers should trade Justin Herbert, but you get what I'm saying. Or like when we traded for Laremy Tunsil. Why is Laremy Tunsil available? He's one of the best left tackles in the NFL. Why is he available? So I don't know. And this too, Abel, I'm glad you brought it up, because there's been rumblings the last 2 weeks that Harbaugh, had a chance of going, but that Lamar could be as well. There's teams saying that, the Dolphins could trade their first round picks for Lamar. The Jets could trade their first round picks. They have a ton for Lamar. What if Harbaugh goes to, what if the Dolphins trade for Lamar? They fire Mike McDaniel. They hire Harbaugh and keep them together. Like, there's just so much possibilities now. Like, I'm telling you, things just exploded. What if they're like, screw Aaron Glenn in New York. Let's get Harbaugh and let's trade for Lamar. Obviously, whoever the head coach is going to want to keep Lamar freaking Jackson. But I'm just saying. Don't get till I get fired up. But I'm drinking out of a Washington cup, so we're good. Let's see. Let me catch up to y'all's chats and stop rambling. But I've been waiting to see all this shit today. Excuse me. Is it realistic Quinn could be let go for Harbaugh? I'm not going to say no, because Harbaugh being available, like I said, should not even be an option. But here we are. I don't know what AP's thinking. I don't know what Josh Harris is thinking. But honestly, it would not surprise me if Josh Harris goes to Adam Peters and he's like, hey, just letting you know, did you just see the news about Harbaugh? It's like, if you're like, this isn't me. I don't do this. But it's like when you're out with your girlfriend and you see something better walk by. I don't do this. I know other guys do. I don't do this. And you take a look. You're like, what I got's good, but look at that. Like, once again, I don't do that. But I don't even have a girl. But it's like, Dan Quinn's cool. I like him. But what about Harbaugh? And I think a lot of fans, I already had fans blowing up my mentions and DMing me and stuff like, oh, Josh, we need to go get Harbaugh. Hey, Josh, you think we can clean house to get Harbaugh? Because I'm not ruling anything out. Do I think it'll happen? I'm going to say no. But would it shock me? Yes. But at the same time, like I said, this is the NFL. They're not for long. Could Lamar be paired with Harbaugh in Miami? For sure. Something I was just wrapping up saying. Good point. Harbaugh can still be close to his family in the DMV if he lives here. True. Harbaugh will be will be the Dolphins coach. Mike will be our new OC. I know the Browns really want Mike McDaniel. Like Mike McDaniel is the Browns like top option, even though he's not available. And like I said, the Dolphins said they're going to keep him, but the Browns are keeping a very, very, very close eye. Some guy named Tay said, "What's going on, man? See you on Twitter all the time." Finally get to tune in. What do you think the main reason Kliff Kingsbury is gone? And I'm going to get to that real quick. I see y'all blowing up the chats. I'm going to catch up, I promise. But I just want to say one thing about Kliff. Because there's a lot that people are talking about. Was he fired? Did he want to go? Is it a parting way thing? You have to break this down. Was he fired? I'm going to say no. Was he let go? Yes. Think about this. And I've had people say like, "Oh, Josh, like don't say parted ways." Like Kliff wanted to go and they granted him that. That's not at all. That's not at all. Did Kliff want to go? Sure. Ooh. Cam Coleman's visiting Alabama. Got to share that. But because Kliff has these, head coaching opportunities and stuff like that. But the thing is, no one's going to quit their job before they even interview for another job. So think about it. Think about your job right now. Say, you like where you're at, whatever, but there might be better opportunities for you. Adam Schefter said, in the first 45 minutes after John Harbaugh was fired, his agent said that they received 7 NFL phone calls, or 7 NFL teams called expressing interest. There's not even 7 jobs open right now. So that's interesting. At least I don't think there is, besides the Ravens. But like, just think about this. Think about your job right now. If you want to go somewhere else, you're not going to just quit your job and be like, "Dang, well, I didn't even get hired anywhere." Like, I don't think Kliff is a top. I don't think Kliff is a top 3 or 4 option in this coaching cycle. I don't think so. Do I think that he could be a head coach? For sure, especially like right now. Diana Rossini was just saying that the buzz that she was hearing is that he could go to Baltimore with Lamar Jackson. That'd be insane. That'd be a crazy upgrade. But it's not like he's a lock to be a head coach anywhere. So for me, it's like, would he just quit, or would he tell the Commanders, "Hey, I want to be let go because I want to pursue these other opportunities"? That's not how it goes. Every coaching cycle, you have players interview, you have, whatever. But if Dan Quinn wanted Kliff to stick around, he would have had him stick around while he pursues these other opportunities. Dan Quinn wanted Kliff gone. There's no doubt about that. Whether it was a disconnect, between him and Adam Peters and the direction they wanted to go with the offense, which it sounds like there's been some reports saying that there was a disconnect between Dan Quinn and Kliff Kingsbury and how they, how should I word this? Like I said, like the approach of the offense, what they wanted to do on offense. I understand that, but you can't sit here and say, "Oh, like Kliff wanted to go." Like, no, Dan Quinn wanted him gone too. I don't think Kliff just walked into his office and was like, "Hey man, can I just be let go?" And they're like, sure, fine. That's not the case at all. Did Kliff want to go to pursue other opportunities? For sure. But Dan Quinn wanted him gone. Did Adam want him gone? I don't know. But Dan Quinn for sure wanted him gone. So for me, it's like, Dan Quinn, you got to get this right, man. You got to get this right. Jordan Schultz was saying that Jayden Daniels was surprised and disappointed in the decision, and other players in the locker room were surprised and disappointed. And for sure. And Jayden's rookie season, that offense carried that team to the NFC Championship game. Jayden and Terry alone carried that team to the NFC Championship game. The defense still wasn't good. The defense was still bad. Was it as bad as it was this year? No, not at all. It was still really bad, though. But that offense carried that team to the NFC Championship game. And then Terry holds out the entire offseason. And then Terry, the third game against the Raiders, gets hurt, out 4 weeks, comes back, gets hurt that same exact game, out 4 weeks again. And then Jayden is out for the majority of the season. They only played 3 games together. And it wasn't even like 3 full games because of Jayden's injuries too. And then Austin Eckler gets hurt in the second week of the season. Noah Brown's supposed to be one of the starting wide receivers, and he didn't exist at all this year. And he was hurt in the offseason. He was hurt all regular season. And if there's one thing I liked about Kliff, is he was honest. He was so transparent. He was like, even during the holdout, he was like, yeah, Terry needs to be on the grass. Like, we can't really, like, we're not practicing to our full potential because Terry's not out here. And then even during the season, he's like, yeah, the injuries suck. Like they were asked to evaluate Jayden's season. He was like, from the jump, we were missing key starters in the offseason. We were missing key starters throughout the regular season. Like this offense never had a chance to succeed. Never had a chance to succeed. And was the offense bad at times? Yes. But was the offense the reason why this team lost so many games? No. But I get it, because from DQ's standpoint, you got to make a move. Like this is his final chess piece, move that he has before he's in checkmate. He had to risk his last piece, which was Kliff, to get out of checkmate. And that's what this was. This is exactly what that was. And I just want people to think about that. Did Kliff want to go? Sure. If I have the chance to be the head coach of the Ravens, yeah, let me go. Or the Titans with Cam Ward and, just be a head coach again, make a shit ton of money. Yeah, I would love that. I would love that opportunity. He's going to get paid from the Cardinals, the Commanders, and his new team. Yes, give me all that money. But did Dan Quinn want him gone too? For sure. Dan Quinn was kind of pushing him on the way out as well. I just want people to get that. Was he fired? No. But did they mutually decide to part ways? This wasn't Dan Quinn oh man, please stay. Don't leave. Dan Quinn's hey, we want to go in a different direction. We know you have other opportunities out there, but we want to go in a different direction too. Because like I said, if not, Kliff would have just stayed the offensive coordinator right now and interviewed with all these opportunities. And if he got one, then he would go to it. And if not, then he would either stay or they would fire him, whatever. But getting rid of him right now, the timing says that Dan Quinn wanted him gone. Dan Quinn wanted him gone. All right. Second rant over. Who do you believe we have the best chance to hire for DC? I mean, best chance. I mean, I still think this is weeks away, till anything happens. But looking at my DC list, I think Raheem Morris is definitely going to be at the top there. I would love Carl Scott with the Seahawks. I would love Dino Vasso with the Texans, Jim Leinhard. Like I said, Jim Schwartz. If he doesn't follow Stefanski wherever he goes, then I feel like that would be a no-brainer for me as well. Kliff being linked to Baltimore. Yep, that's what Rashini was just saying. I hope Jim Schwartz for sure. Let me catch up on y'all's chats. I apologize. Let me scroll down here a little bit. Quinn literally fired himself today. The next OC he brings in has to be a home run. And if so, means that OC will replace Quinn for sure. So I get what you're saying. Once again, this is a lose-lose for Quinn. If you get this hire wrong, you're gone. But if you get this hire 2 right, then he's probably going to replace you. So it's for Quinn's best outcome is that he gets it kind of right. We don't want to hear that. I don't want that to happen. I want this to be a home run. And honestly, the guy that's my front runner, I think he's the next young head coach in the league that's going to take everything by storm. I think so. All right, just looking at some other interviews. Haven't seen any. If anything else pops up with Kliff, I'll let you know. If Harbaugh got fired, I'd expect Tomlin next, playoffs or not. So that's something that's been going around too. But they said Tomlin would go to TV right away if he was let go. Then he would just go like into the booth or do TV or whatever right away. Like he wouldn't go anywhere else. So yeah, so there definitely is Mike Tomlin smoke. There definitely is. But I don't want people to think that it's going to have a huge impact on Washington other than it's going to be another head coach opening for someone to take over. Did Josh Connolly get Kliff fired? No. Josh Connolly's been great. Do you think the draft should come before free agency? I think it makes more sense. I get it. And yes. And, AP said that too. He kind of wishes, you supplement in free agency instead of supplementing in the draft, which I agree. I agree. But I don't know. Honestly, I kind of prefer, I don't know. There's pros to both sides, but for me, if you were to have the draft first, then you would just definitely take the best players available. And then wherever you have your weak links, that's where you would obviously make these signings in free agency. And it would be a blast. But for me, it puts even more pressure on free agency. You have to go into the draft because obviously, not for every team, because some teams have a shit ton of picks, but for Washington, you only got 6 picks. So in free agency, you pretty much have to act like the draft doesn't exist right now with the current, layout of how it is with the draft with free agency. You got to act like the draft doesn't exist. So go into free agency. I want them to get a Rashad White, get a, Rico Dowdle, Breece Hall, whoever, running back, get a Boye Mafe, a Devin Lloyd, maybe a Romeo Dobbs. Get those quality signings out the way to where you act like you're playing a game after free agency, Act like the draft doesn't exist. And then when you get to the draft, you are really just taking the best players available. You're not looking around like, well, shoot, we still need an edge. We still need a safety. We still need a wide receiver. I think having that approach, it really puts less stress on you. Because, even look at the Bucs. Look at the Bucs. They had Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Jalen McMillan, loaded wide receiver group. And they had no problem taking Emeka Egbuka. No problem. And that's the kind of approach I think teams should have. Hell, even back to when the Rams did not need Aaron Donald when they got him at the time, but he turned out to be one of the best all time because they said, hey, we're going to just take the best player available. And it was Aaron Donald. And he turned out to be a Hall of Famer. Obviously not every single pick's going to turn out like that, but that's the mindset to have. Would I rather the draft be first? Yeah, because like I said, I'm taking best player. I don't care who it is. I'm taking best player available off the rip. And then in free agency, I'm filling in those potholes you got on the roster. But that's not what happens. So you kind of have to do the opposite. But I still want to fill those potholes in free agency. When I'm getting to the draft, I'm like, hey, I have this guy at edge. But if I have an opportunity to get that guy, I'm still going to do it. So, and that's just what makes it so exciting. And that's why I love mock drafts. Some people hate mock drafts, but I love it because it's like putting a puzzle together, knowing that you got a whole nother puzzle that you have to merge over into that one. So while you're doing this, while you're thinking, you can think about free agency. You can look ahead to what other possibilities there are. So, another rant, but man, I love the offseason because of that. New OC worked for May for sure. But another thing is too, the offense that Kliff had, no one else runs that kind of offense. Really, whoever they get, Jayden Daniels is going to be under center for the first time in his life, literally for his life. I guarantee you, he played under 10 snaps under center in his entire college career. There's no way that he went under center at LSU, Arizona State. No way. I would bet $1,000 it's under 10 snaps. So whoever he does get, it's going to be a whole new look. It's going to be a completely new philosophy. is probably going to be more of a pro style, whether if that is like a West Coast or if it's just, run the ball 25 times a game and just play action, like what they're doing with like JJ McCarthy right now, where it's like, that Michigan style that he played up there. Or if it's like, we're just going to spread out and we're going to air raid everybody, but we're still going to run. We're going to do zones. We're still going to go under center. Like, there's a lot of different pro style offenses that he could have, but it's going to be nothing like what Kliff had. Nothing like that. He's going to be, I'm telling you, and that's something I've talked about many times at the Senior Bowl, even back when I was talking to Sam Howell, Kenny Pickett, that class, it was a heavy talking point. Because at the Senior Bowl, they make you go under center. And they're like, I've never done this before. It feels so weird. Like, imagine writing with your other hand for the first time. You're like, I don't like this. Because you're under center, you're looking different, you're not up and where you're looking at everything. And the hardest part, believe it or not, every quarterback told me, is having to turn their back to the defense. And then they have all these changes. A team shows cover 3 and it goes to cover 2. A team shows a blitz and everybody drops. Or like a shell or like a disguise, whatever, and it just changes. So that split second that you turn your back, what you just saw pre-snap, you erase it. It's gone. Different. What you're about to get is not that look. And like I'll never forget, Sam Howell told me, he's like, dude, it is so hard having to go under center, take the ball, turn your back to the defense, and then come back around and reset. And you have under 3 seconds to get rid of that ball. Ideally, you're at 2 seconds and that ball's out. But you have to process everything. You're going through your reads. You got your hot. You're going through your progressions. So that's the one thing that concerns me with Jayden. He hasn't had to do it before because he didn't do it with Kliff either. He didn't have to go under center. And I'm telling you, whoever he gets now, there's a high possibility he's going to have to go under center. And it is such a different feeling. It's just, I don't want to say he's going to be like, learning to play quarterback again, but it's just adding a whole new element on top of that. So that's my concern. Will Jayden be able to do it? I'm not worried about that. Yes, Jayden is phenomenal. But I'm telling you, he has never had to do it in his entire career, and now he's going to have to. On top of developing, on top of staying healthy, and this is going to help, this play action, these rollouts and stuff like that. It's going to help more with him being able to protect himself in the design runs and stuff like that. So I'm not really too worried about that. It's going to help protect him a little bit more as well. But I'm just saying it's a big one. It's not a slight thing. It's another big thing that he's going to have to deal with whoever comes over here. Because I highly doubt whoever they get is about to do the same thing, shotgun, all the time. He's just, taking it and, zone and stuff like that. I don't think it's going to be the case. DQ got to go. I don't think it'll happen. I think next season, if DQ screws this up, his coach choice is his next. He's the next to go. All right, make sure there's nothing else. I saw Cardinals. I thought it was Commanders. How funny would it be if the Cardinals tried to interview Kliff again? I was thinking about that today. I'm like, how funny would that be? Josh, did you see that? DQ thought Kliff's offense stressed the defense out by having them out on the field too much. I mean, sure, but damn, DQ, your defense sucks. And you could say the same. The part where I felt bad for Kliff this season is when the first quarter, Washington had the worst margin in the entire NFL by a lot. A lot. There was 6, 7 games we were down double digits to start the game. To start the game. So now Kliff has to abandon the run. Like you're playing shootout mode at that point. And that's when I felt bad for Kliff, is that he couldn't establish his run. You have your first 15 plays out, right? So say first drive, the other team starts with the ball, they score a touchdown, you get the ball back, there's a turnover, or you just don't score any points, whatever, it didn't work out, it is what it is. Very next drive, they score again, you're down 14-0 or 10-0, you're like, well, shit, man. my game plan just changed because we're down double digits again. I can't run the ball on first and second down and, hope that we score a touch. I got to play shootout with these guys. I have to be aggressive. I have to change up what I want to do. And it just was not a good relationship. The offense and the defense, as they love to say, complimentary football. There was nothing complimentary about it. It was black and white. It was completely different. Let's go. Let's see. Appreciate the super chat. Light YC2RN said, will Bailey be another Mike Green or Ezeraku? I'm going to say no. I first liked Mike Green last year. Now he hasn't done shit, obviously. But what I've seen out of Mike Green in college and what I've seen out of David Bailey in college, what I think the difference is I don't think Mike Green was anywhere as strong as Bailey is. Bailey's run stopping ability is it's already much better than what Mike Green's was and probably is right now. Ezeraku is an interesting one though. I think he would be closer to Ezeraku than Mike Green for sure, because Ezeraku was not a bad run stopper in college, despite being that 245, 250 range weight wise, which is probably where Bailey's at, probably 245. I think he's closer to there. But at the same time, you can compare Bailey to, guys that don't pan out like Mike Green. He might be good, who knows, but he didn't do shit this year. Or you can compare them to an Abdul Carter or a Micah Parsons, or guys that move from linebacker to edge, that are smaller guys. So I feel like it's so hard to project what a player's about to be. Now, I'm excited to see Bailey at the Senior Bowl. That was a huge get for them. I mean, having a top 7, top 8 pick in the draft, caliber player, there's going to be huge. I'm going to be glued to Bailey. I'm going to be talking to him a ton. So y'all make sure that we got almost 1,200 people in here right now. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button as well, because 3 weeks from today, I'll be at the first Senior Bowl practice watching guys like David Bailey and watching all these draft prospects. Not even just him. There's a ton. This is probably the best edge group I've ever seen in my 6 or 7 years of going. Best by far. So don't miss out on that. I appreciate the super chat and the question, but I do like Bailey a lot. I like Ruben Bain a lot too. But Bain's got almost 30 pounds, but Bailey's got longer arms. So, man, to me, that's going to be, and of course, Caleb Downs is going to have something to say. Caleb Downs is going to be there chirping in our ears while we're debating Bailey and we're debating Bain throughout the entire draft process. Caleb Downs is going to be there, in our ears chirping and be like, hey man, you're going to want me if I'm on the board. And, honestly, I'm cool with all three of them, but there's going to be such a debate with Bain and Bailey, and I'm here for it. I can't wait. And I'm going to circle back. So after the Senior Bowl, I'm going to circle back. I'm going to watch more film and kind of refresh myself and then give my final take on these guys. Rod Jewell, but I appreciate the super chat. Rod Jewell said AP and DQ were giving hints during the entire press conference. They were. I mean, I was reading over the transcripts that they sent us 5 times this morning. And what I got out of it, to be honest with you, coaching wise, and this is kind of what I'm thinking about when I'm doing this article about the offensive coordinator, stuff like that. I think the thing is, I think Dan Quinn knows that it is okay to go outside of his realm. He spoke really highly of Tavita Pritchard. And he was like, I didn't know him when I got here, but I learned so much from Tavita. I'm so glad that we hired him. And I think he knows this is the end. You can't just play it safe and be like, oh, if I go down, it's going to be with one of my guys. You can't do that. And just hearing the things, and I tweeted about it. Let me pull it up. He said, God, I've tweeted a lot today. Here we go. I made a list and I screenshotted the transcripts that they sent. This is the little notes I said, is what DQ said, what he's looking for in a coach. Talent of the coach, but also the fit. The fit is, he talked about fit a lot. What's unique about them, their teaching, and why that skill set is important. He says probably the most important thing is what are they trying to teach and what are they trying to preach, because that's what's going to come out on the field, and that's what the players have to do. Like that skill set and what he's teaching is exactly what the players have to do to succeed. So for me, it's like what their philosophy and their approach and what they're trying to do. Ability to collaborate and communicate. I mean, obviously that's a big one, but fresh and ideas is another one. He said an ability to evolve and adapt. And I think those last two, especially with the evolve and adapt, everyone knew that Kliff has his own style. And I don't want to say stuck in his way, but that's kind of what it was. Like he wasn't going to change his philosophy. He wasn't going to get away from his philosophy. And I think that little bit was like not a jab at Kliff, but like that's what we're looking for. He's just not doing that. So like I get that. But what I get out of it is I don't think that he is like singled in on older guys. Like I don't think he's like stuck to one thing. I think he knows. And he said this too, like he's going to be open-minded. Like he is open to anything and everything. Like I think this was a wake-up call for Dan Quinn. And I hope it is. I know I'm hard on the guy and I say a lot of stuff about him on social media because this was just a bad season. Like not even just record-wise, but just like the small things along the way. I'm like, damn, DQ. Injuries aside, man, this was not your best showing as a head coach. But I'm rooting for him. I want this team to win. I want this team to get back to the NFC Championship game. That was like the best year of my life, y'all. I've been watching this team for my entire life. And I'm telling y'all, 2024 was the best season of my life. Not even because I got to go to a bunch of these road games and stuff like that, but we got to see this team win. So how do we get back to that? I think, like I said, I think this was such a wake-up call for Quinn where he's like, what I'm doing right now is not working. So if I'm preaching about adapting and if I'm preaching about, being able to just change, he has to do that himself. Because the most Dan Quinn thing he can do this offseason is hire Raheem Morris, which I'm not going to be like mad at it. But also, if he just promotes Brian Johnson or if he just promotes Anthony Lynn, then I'm going to be pissed. Like he has to get someone in here, whether it's from the Shanahan tree, a Joshua tree. I don't care what tree they're from. I don't care if it's Nick Saban himself. Whoever he gets has to come in here on offense and defense and do something different. I don't want the same scheme. I don't want the same philosophy. I don't want the same failures that we just saw. I want fresh. I want new. And if he doesn't, I'm going to come back to this press conference and be like, Dan Quinn, you said yourself, you want fresh ideas. You want someone that can adapt. You want someone that can, merge ideas together, that can do all this. But you went out and got everyone that you knew. So, of course, it's so funny because I would get on X or Twitter, whatever you call it, and people like, man, I got nothing out of that press conference. I'm like, I got a lot. We had Adam Peters straight up tell us, I'm getting an edge rusher this offseason. Adam Peters has never done that before. Adam Peters has never shown his hand before, ever. And he said, I'm getting me an edge rusher this offseason. That's what he said. He's like, I've never heard him point out a single need on this team. Like, oh, yeah, we got to get younger. We got to get faster. He said, I'm leaving with something this offseason, and it's a pass rusher. Like, I was like, go ahead, AP. Like, I needed to hear that. I feel like yesterday was a different DQ and AP than what we've heard in the past. I mean, if you just go back to the end of the year press conference from last year, or even just the opening press conference from this year, it was completely different. Like they didn't really tell us anything. They didn't really tell us much. But I'm telling y'all, they know that this season is just make or break. Make or break. Master Andrew was going on, said, talking to the draft, you think we could trade back with Kansas City at 9 by baiting Love and get some more picks, or do you think we could lose out on someone good? I mean, I'm not really team trade back right now. I don't think this team is in a position to give up the opportunity to getting good players. Obviously, my thought process might change by the time free agency's done, and we're 2 weeks before the draft. I might say, hell yeah, we're trading back. But right, if the draft was tomorrow, I'd say no. I'd say it's not worth it because I mean the last thing this team can afford. I don't care who it is, whether Kansas City gets love at 7 but like say Ruben Bain or Caleb Downs goes at 8 and we take somebody else and they don't work out. Like, man, that would be the biggest heartbreak ever. You don't want to ever have a top 10 pick ever again. Like, you don't. Unless you traded with somebody and they sucked and you got a much better pick than you thought you would, then sure. But you don't want your own pick to ever be top 10 again. Hell, you don't want it to be top 20, top 30. You want that Super Bowl pick. You want that last pick of the draft. You want to be snoozing your way through the first round of the draft, shining your Super Bowl ring, and then you're number 32 on the clock. But, oh, we'll pick now. You don't want to ever have that high of a pick. So for me, it's like, when's the next time you're going to have that opportunity? And some people hate this draft. I don't know. But a lot of the draft community likes this draft a lot. I think I think that there's some real franchise changing defensive players in this draft, but you also just never know what the heck is going to happen. But right now I'm staying at 7 and I'm saying, who are we getting? Whether it is Bain, whether it is Bailey, or whether it is Downs. Those are my 3 right now. I'm not really leaning towards a wide receiver right now. I don't know. I feel like that defense just needs its own star. Like who is the leader? Who is the Jayden Daniels of the defense? We don't have one. We don't have one. And I think that's the biggest thing that's missing for me. And obviously whoever we get as defensive coordinator is going to change my opinion too. Like if we get someone completely different, then I'm like, cool, let me see what they run. Let me see what kind of scheme they got. Let me see what kind of player they're going to want to point out. Not gonna lie, I wouldn't hate Jeff Albridge. I like him too. Has a good track record. Hope DQ wouldn't hire him strictly because he's a buddy, but more because he's good at the job. For sure. That's what I'm hoping too. What's going on, Wham? What do you think about AP saying DQ will choose coordinators and he'll support whoever it is? Makes me feel like he's not fully invested in leaving a lot of the GM work to Quinn. Could be overreacting. That's my take. I think it's a good call. I don't think he's leaving the GM work to Quinn, but think about this. It's kind of what we've been saying about this whole hiring process. Like, Quinn has to get this right. You can't fire Quinn next season if they suck. And he's just like, well, you didn't let me pick my coordinators. You didn't let me do this. You didn't let me have the freedom to do this. And then I think this is how it should be. If you're a GM and you hire your head coach, then you should give them the full responsibility of the coaching staff, because that is your coaching staff. As the GM, I'm not coaching these players. I'm not running the players out there. I'm not calling plays. I'm not doing all this. I'm asking you what kind of players you need, and I'm getting them for you. I'm getting their contracts. I'm trading. I'm signing free agents. I'm drafting players that you need. I'm setting you up to succeed. Now it's your job to coach them up and go out there and win the games. It's not my job to just hire coaches who I think is going to be a good player, like a good coach, whatever. That's not my job. I like that. Like, I feel like that's how it should be. But because once again, if all falls apart, it's not like, well, AP, you're the one that hired so-and-so. You hired Kliff. You hired Joe Whitt Jr. I didn't get to pick who I wanted. It's like, why am I getting punished for it? Like, no, it's like, Dan, this is your staff. You brought Joe Whitt over. You hired Kliff. You refused to fire Joe Whitt Jr. during the season. You took over the defense and it still sucked. So I think that's how it should be. I don't think that he's like, oh, I'm not invested in being the GM. I'm telling you, I still really like Adam Peters. That's a hot take. A lot of people don't like Adam Peters. I still like him a lot. And I like that he's given Dan Quinn the freedom. I just don't think Dan Quinn's doing a good job. That's a whole different conversation. But I think that's how it should be. I think that's how it should be. Give him the freedom to do whatever. And then when it fails, you're out of here, buddy. If you can't make the right hire at head coach, as the head coach, you get the wrong offensive coordinator again. If you get the wrong defensive coordinator again, then yeah, you're out of here. And me as a general manager, I'm not out of here. I promise you, if Dan Quinn gets fired next season, AP probably has another 2-3 years. Like, he's going to get another cycle, another hiring cycle, and he's going to get another head coach who gets another 2 or 3 years. I had a lot of people tell me today, if Dan Quinn gets fired, that means Adam Peters is going to get fired too. I don't think that's the case at all. I don't think so. To your point about the Bucs wide receiver approach, they did just happen to miss the playoffs, which no one really expected. Just saying, maybe that approach isn't the best. I mean, they completely fell apart, but their defense was one of the worst in the league. Like, it was so bad. But from just my standpoint, also they had a ton of injuries. Obviously Godwin was hurt. Mike Evans had his own injuries, didn't hit 1,000 yards this year. Emeka Egbuka started really hot. Jalen McMillan had his own injuries as well. Egbuka kind of fell off at the end. But just that approach, like, obviously their season didn't pan out. Like I said, their defense was atrocious. And Todd Bowles is defensive head coach, by the way. I just like that approach, though. Like, don't not add a really good player just because it's not a need at the time. That was my whole thing. Obviously, it didn't work out season-wise for the Bucs, but I feel you. All right, let me skip down here real quick. Do you agree we need to put the Commanders tag to rest? We need dogs. At this point, I don't know what the Commanders tag is because we sucked. I don't know what the Commanders tag is right now because I don't know what that even is at this point. It showed me this season. Like, I like, injuries aside, the players did not do their job this season at all. You've seen a report that Love is the best prospect in the draft. Why not take him at 7? What one defensive player at 7 is going to take us to a top 10 defense? I'm definitely not saying rule out Jeremiah Love, because I think Jeremiah Love's the top 3 player in the draft. I'd probably have Caleb Downs at number 1. Man, Jeremiah Love might be at 2. He might be at 2. Ruben Baines probably 3. Mendoza would probably be like my 4 or 5. But once again, I'm not turning away anyone. This team just needs really good players. But depending on what other moves they make, if they do go get Trey Hendrickson, if they do get Boye Mafe, and they get Devin Lloyd at linebacker, and they get Tyreek Woolen at corner, and then they draft Caleb Downs, I think that's a top 10 defense on paper, at least. If they make the moves that they have to, and then they go into the draft with an edge, with a linebacker, with a corner already, and they say, hey, let's get Caleb Downs to really elevate this defense, I'm telling you, Caleb Downs is just a special player. I think he's better than what Kyle Hamilton was. I think he was just as good, if not better, than Derwin James when he was coming out. Minka Fitzpatrick. He's a special talent. I'm ready to move on from Dan Quinn right now. Harbaugh will likely be the Giants' new head coach. Sounds like he's the top one. What's going on, Radar? Late as always. Welcome. When can we expect Lattimore to be cut? I mean, teams aren't going to be releasing players right this second. You're probably not going to see much roster stuff until like after the season. It's going to be a little while. You might, it'd be nice. And AP said he wants to get it done sooner rather than later, but you might get a Laramie Tunzel. That could happen at any time. But yeah, I don't think you're going to see us be, releasing a bunch of players and stuff just yet. Matthew said, if you fire the OC and DC, what's the point on keeping Dan Quinn? I fully agree. He's a notorious loser that has no business being our head coach. Yeah. And that's something I've seen a lot today too. Like, if you're going to clean house, then why not clean house? So definitely we'll have to see if it works out, but, I don't know. It doesn't usually work out. Bobby Johnson was surprising. Yes and no. Obviously, if you hire a new offensive coordinator, they're going to want a new staff. And it would not surprise me. The only people they're keeping right now is like Brian Johnson, Anthony Lynn, guys that they might interview for the offensive coordinator position. And God, I would hate it. But like they weren't going to interview Bobby Johnson for the offensive coordinator position, obviously. So they went ahead and let him go because whoever they do get as an offensive coordinator is going to come in with a whole new staff. What's going on, Merle? Bring Todd Monken to Washington for OC. I would not hate it. Especially after Harbaugh. I will say, though, I forgot what team it was. Was it the Titans or the Browns? He was interviewing somewhere for a head coaching position, so we'll have to see. But that's another thing, too. There's more head coaching jobs opening up right now. So some of these candidates that we really hope to get might actually end up getting a head coaching job, and they're just not going to be there. But I mean, best case scenario. And I'm not saying Clint Kubiak is going to come to Washington. I mean, God, if you can get Clint Kubiak to come over here as OC, then obviously that I would kiss Dan Quinn's feet. That's not going to happen. But say, who's a good one? Stefanski. And I don't think this will happen because I think Stefanski gets a head coaching job. But maybe the Harbaugh thing changes everything. If Stefanski doesn't get a head coach job, then yes, he's the guy. Then he's the guy. But if he gets a head coach job, I'd be like, dang, that was a top candidate of ours. Now we have to adjust. So it's very fluid, obviously. So say if Todd Monken doesn't get a head coaching job, then for sure I'm all over it. Bring that kind of style offense. And he actually, would run the ball. I know they got away from Derrick Henry a couple times, but when you got a Derrick Henry, you're running the ball. But you still have Lamar. And you still had an explosive offense. But I mean, I would like Todd Monken, to be honest with you. Anthony Lynn already lined up for a college job, right? I don't know if he took that Penn State job. I'm still trying to figure it out. I mean, I had my Penn State source message me, whatever night that was, Saturday night, saying that they heard it was a thing. I heard it was a thing, but nothing was confirmed. I don't know. His son just got hired as their defensive coordinator. And I keep hitting my mic. And they haven't said anything about their running back coach interviews, which is very unusual. Like there's like absolutely nothing about it. So I don't know. At this point, maybe he's going to be going to Penn State because, like I said, they're cleaning up shop. I don't know. I told my guy today, I messaged him back. So I was like, about that job. Who knows? I think it'll be another week or so until we hear anything about it. Unless he just straight up takes it and takes himself out of Washington himself. If DQ doesn't work out, hopefully we get a young OC. And that's kind of what I'm leaning towards too. Like I want a younger OC that can get a year under his belt, but then have that potential to be the head coach next year if things go south. I think DQ gets fired by week 8. Damn, we're talking about next season already. David, God bless you, man. Have a good night. But yeah, week 8 is kind of, I don't know, man. I hope not, just because that means that we had a bad season. If you're firing a guy week 8, that means we're like 1-7, 2-6, and that's not where I want to be at. But hey, somehow trade for Montgomery, Gibbs, running back 1. I'm sure is a way to somehow make it work with future picks would fit perfectly. I'm not trading any picks, especially for a running back, but I mean, he might want out. I know there's like a little bit of rumblings about it, but who knows? You got some Greg Owens in your voice. Who is Greg Owens? JD, I'll have to look him up. Greg Owens. I'll have to remember that. What if Kliff went to college with Tavita Pritchard? Hell no, he's not going to college. He's already got lined up for some head coaching opportunities. Like I said, someone said the Chiefs. Where did I see that at? Lattimore is the Pitts. Not talking about the Kyle Pitts. Lattimore is trash. Someone said something about the Chiefs, that the Chiefs might want him as their offensive coordinator. They lose Nagy, which, I mean, at this time, it sounds like that they would be losing him anyways. But what do you think about Lemon out of USC? Lemon has been my draft crush for like 3 months now. I love Mekhi Lemon. Would I take him at 7? Yes. Do I think that the Commanders should? No. But he's a fantastic player. I'm telling you, I got so much hate when I said he's such like a Jackson Smith and Jigba type of wide receiver. Everyone's like, no, he's not, blah, 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 blah. And then all these people started saying, oh, he's like the next coming of Jackson Smith and Jigba. And I'm like, thank you. Like I think he's literally like 1 inch shorter, but he's the same size. He's just a freak, man. Kai Lemon, I might like him more than Carnell Tate. I seriously, I think I do. I just think he's going to be just man, he might be my wide receiver one just because Tyson had just a bad health season at Arizona State. Like he was hurt every week. But man, I love me some Makai Lemon. I could just watch him play all the time. Him in the slot, like if they could go sign Alec Pierce and like just thinking about Terry McLaurin, Alec Pierce, or even like Romeo Dobbs, and then Makai Lemon in the slot. Oh my God, bruh. I would be so hype. That'd be the best. That'd be the best wide receiver room we've had since like Pierre Garçon days. But yeah, I could literally talk about Makai Lemon for the rest of the night. I love me some Lemon. Off topic, what are your thoughts on the transfers happening in college football? It's crazy. So I also cover Alabama for A to Z Sports, and just keeping up with it. I mean, it's I've never seen it like this before. Like it is literally the college free agency with the money, with all the visits going on. It's so chaotic. Like it literally feels like we're in free agency right now. So covering that and covering all this has been an absolute blast over the last 48 hours, whatever today is. Team and season fell apart, starting with McLaurin holdout. It sure did. And a lot of people were mad when I said that him holding out was selfish and it was just not good for the team. And I'm glad that AP talked about that yesterday, because I think that was a big thing too that we didn't get to hear. You know, he said that he definitely learned from that. He said there was a lot of factors in it. There was a lot of factors in it. This wasn't a one-sided thing. This is definitely both sides. But he said, you know, I would have loved to got that done sooner. And moving forward, that's what I'm working to do, is just to get things done much earlier. And I think that's gonna play a big part in Laremy Tunsil. I mean, I think the Laremy Tunsil thing gets done before. It depends, because Tunsil, he's self-represented, but he has a team. Does he wait to see if the market gets reset again? I mean, I think he gets 30 a year. But does he wait to see if he can get it to like 32, 33? I don't know. I would like it to be done by February. If it can get done by the end of, I mean, Charles Cross just got his big extension. He got I think he got 100. Can't remember, but I would love for it to be done before I get to the Senior Bowl. Like that would be fantastic. But man, just being at training camp every single day, man, this team felt different. Like just being there, like it's always fun being there. Like, yeah, I love being there. I was excited to be there, but I was like, man, this team don't feel the same. This team does not feel right. It does not feel right. And yeah, it just didn't feel good, to be honest with you. It just training camp, it just felt off. Like the team had no juice. There was not much of that like excitement going on. It was just like all right. Like it really sucked everything out of the air having that whole situation going on. And I mean, and as a fan of the team, like I hated having to write about it, because I'm like, man, like I have to be critical. I have to be harsh on both sides. Like AP, get this done, but then like Terry, I get your side of it, man, but you're killing the team right now. And it turned out to be just terrible. And then of course he got hurt the third game. And his whole thing was like, I've never been hurt before. Bam, he got hurt. But it was both sides. Like I said, it was AP's fault. He learned a lesson, and it was Terry's fault. He learned a lesson because he clearly wasn't ready. You know, play wise and health wise, he got hurt that third game. But yeah, they both had to learn from that for sure. But it was just not good at all. Do you think the new DC will keep Payne? I hope not. Payne has the largest cap hit next season by a lot. I think the exact number that they save is 16.5. And I think they eat 11 mil in dead cap, which is fine because they have like $200,000 of dead cap. They have pretty much like a penny. In NFL terms, like they have nothing. And you're just, what the product you're getting out of the pay is not worth it. 16.5 mil this offseason can get you 2 above average starters, like good starters. And I say above average, and people are like, oh, like, no, above average is good. Above average is great. You want above average players. Like, it's what they say scouting wise. Like, if a player has a good trait, you say he has above average athletic ability, or he has above average, route running or whatever, play speed, whatever. You want to have above average. Above average is good. It's not like, oh, he's an above average player. Like, no, that's good. I think you can get 2 quality starters in that, especially because the first year of a contract, say they're 8 years, in that first year. That's a great player. So 16.5 mil, brother. I would sign Tyler Tart for the next 2-3 seasons and kick Payne, and I can go get another starter. Like, there's a lot of guys in that defensive tackle group, and this is something else too. This is a damn good defensive tackle draft. I like these guys a lot. I like these guys. Lee Hunter on this team, whoever the defensive coordinator is, I know they're already watching film and stuff like that of college guys. Lee Hunter is going to be a popular guy in the draft. Texas Tech defensive tackle. He's a beast. So for me, it's just the product is not worth the pay for Payne. For what I saw this season, and it started great, but as soon as the team started losing, he's like, it just wasn't there. The sack production wasn't there. He's bad against the run. I love Payne to death, man. That's my guy. Like, since Bama, I met that guy after the Alabama games. Like, I've loved Payne for a long time. Long time. Before I started even doing this stuff. Love Payne to death. But at this point, I love Jonathan Allen too. But at this point, just not, the product is not worth it. He's not going to take a pay cut. He's just going to go somewhere else. So, I mean, if you can trade Payne for like a 4th or a 5th round, excellent. Like, for sure. Do that. Eat that little bit of dead cap and take the rest of the savings. That's great. But with a new defensive coordinator, I think it's more of an AP thing. AP's going to be like, I can't justify this. I can't justify this contract. I can't justify the salary cap that he's about to take. So I'm 1 bajillion% out. I can rule out Payne. Like, I'm out. Same with Lattimore. No way you bringing him back, obviously. How much is Pierce getting in free agency? I think his market value is projected 20 to 22 mil a year, which sounds like a lot, but Pierce has been phenomenal this year. He's been great. Pierce is a great wide receiver. They also have to pay Michael Pittman, though. The Colts are in a very interesting spot. Their quarterback was supposed to get this massive extension. He tore his Achilles. They traded for Sauce Gardner. They made all these, big moves, went all in, started 7-1, finished 1-7. They got to pay Michael Pittman. They got to pay Alec Pierce. I don't know. I'm definitely keeping my eye on Indy. I think Indy has some players on both sides of the ball that are worth taking a look at. So I'm glad you mentioned Pierce, because he's not like the hottest name. He's not like T. Higgins, like we were talking about last season, or anything like that. But Alec Pierce is a damn good ball player, and he deserves a lot of money after what he did this season. Absolutely deserves a lot of money. That dude has been fantastic for that offense. Do I think Washington should be in that sweepstakes? For sure. Like I said, he's still young. I mean, this was his rookie contract that he was on. 20 mil a year. I mean, once again, it depends who the offensive coordinator and stuff is. Like, we'll get to that eventually. We still got more to take care of, but I mean, yeah, if it's 20 mil a year, for sure. Give him like a 4-year deal. That first year of the contract would probably be like 12. You would have an out in that 3rd year. I would probably backload it, because you would have Jayden's extension come in like 2 years. But yeah, I mean, I would be all over Pierce, to be honest with you. Pause. Not like that. I would be all over getting him in free agency. What about Quay Walker would be a great pickup? I like him. But he is not the best in coverage. I was talking to our A to Z Sports Packers writer, and Packers fans actually like really don't want him to come back. I think he's a great tackler. I think he's a great linebacker, but I would much rather have Lloyd. Much rather have Lloyd. It's just when Walker struggles, it's in coverage, and that gives me PTSD. I just don't like that. Bain or Bailey with the first pick, safety with our second pick, which is in the third. So, I mean, yeah, I got my options. I'll have to see who rises up the board and stuff like that. But like McNeil Warren from Toledo, I don't know if he would be available in the third, but that'd be great. Yeah, I'm with it. Colts have to pay Taylor and Nelson also. Yeah, they got a lot of people to have to pay. I really hope we get Pierce, him opposite of Terry for sure. I love that. Would y'all bring back Cam Curl? I don't know. I mean, I think that bridge is burnt. I don't think so. I think he was asking for way too much, and AP was like, hell no. You're smoking something. I don't see it. I think he goes somewhere else. I don't think the Rams keep him around either, just because they just paid Quentin Lake, and they also have Cam Kinchins, who's my guy. If y'all remember that draft. But yeah, I would say there's like a 3% chance Cam Curl comes back. I just think that bridge is a little too burnt. I don't think that all went great, that whole process. But all right, y'all, we've been live for an hour and 12 minutes now. I love y'all, but I got to get back to writing this article about my offensive coordinator list and my favorite one. It's going to take me a hot minute, but I'm going to drop it at 8 a.m. Yeah, I'll do 8 a.m. 8 a.m. tomorrow. And I'm sure more stuff's going to happen tomorrow with this team, especially. But I appreciate y'all for coming through on the live. I'm telling y'all, the off season is going to be insane. So please, guys, we have over 1,500 people in here right now. If you are on X, come over to YouTube real quick and make sure you're subscribed. And if you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed as well. Because like I said, man, this off season, I love the regular season. Like, don't get me wrong. But if you've been following me over the last, 5, 6, 7 years, y'all know I love the offseason. I love the offseason. I feel like this is where I thrive. And like I said, from 3 weeks from today, I'm going to be in Mobile, Alabama for the Senior Bowl. I'm going to be talking to all these top draft prospects, getting to know them, watching them in practice, getting some interview tapes. I'm going to upload those on YouTube. I'll upload those on X too. You can follow me at Josh Taylor FB on X, Twitter, whatever you call it. But I'm telling y'all, this is going to be a electric offseason. And the most important thing you need to do, though, is go to atozsports.com and check out my articles. Because I write almost 25 articles a week. I'm at like 12 already, and this is just Tuesday. But for all of my thoughts, for coordinator candidates, for free agency stuff, for draft content, mock drafts, everything that I do is on the website. So atozsports.com. Let me pull it up for y'all. Because I get people asking me stuff all the time and a lot of questions. And as much as I blabber on like I am right now, I can only talk about so much. But all of my thoughts are right here. If I can pull this up, share screen. Bam. atozsports.com. You can just see the last few articles. Obviously, Whitt getting fired. Kliff getting parted ways with today. He didn't get fired. He got parted ways with. And then just what George Schultz was saying about the locker room and some reactions to Kliff. Some free agency stuff. Like I said, I got some draft stuff coming up too. I'll do a mock draft this week. Once all these big news are out of the way with stuff and coordinators. But as stuff pops up, things are going to change. So I'll have to adjust. I'll have to put out a new list, new candidates to watch, interviews and stuff like that. But I'm telling y'all, this is the best place to find my work. I love the video stuff. That's how I started everything. But this right here is where I feel like I get everything out of my mind and I can express myself the most in writing form and just different angles that other people aren't talking about. Like I can sit here and tell you that Kliff got fired. I can tell you that John Harbaugh got fired. But like the thing I like doing is finding a different angle. How does John Harbaugh getting fired impact the Commanders? That's something I'm going to write about tomorrow. How that domino could be something that impacts Washington. So it's not just like Kliff got fired and blah, blah, blah. Even though you got a notification on ESPN, you should read this. Not at all. That's not me. Y'all know that I am just out there expressive and not just writing down transactional stuff. So head over to A2ZSports.com, check out the Washington Commanders site, and then we have so many college football stuff too with the playoffs going on, and then with NFL draft stuff. We have mock drafts all over the place. We have a fantastic NFL draft team with guys like Kyle Krabs, Ryan Roberts, guys that have the intel on the NFL draft stuff that other people aren't even talking about yet. They've been on it all season. So I'm telling you, if you love the draft, if you love the Washington Commanders, which you're here for that reason, go over to A2ZSports.com and check those out. I'm telling you, I come across other articles that people wrote all the time. I'm like, holy smokes, this is great work. Especially the NFL draft stuff. I think I'm great at the draft, but I think those dudes are on another level. So I go to them all the time and ask them stuff. So I appreciate y'all. And if anything else breaks, y'all are going to see my face pop up. But make sure you're following on everything. Make sure you hit that notification bell. So if I do have to go live again this offseason, which I definitely will, you'll know about it. And I'm not going to just have to tweet about it and stuff like that. Sometimes I'm just going to hop on here and start rambling. So I appreciate y'all. Like I said, we went crazy on the stream. So many people in here. We still got over 1,500 people in here right now. So can't thank y'all enough. Buckle up. This is day 2 of the offseason, and we're already going crazy. The Washington offseason Commanders. That is who we are. Oh, Alabama just got another commit. So let's go. I'm going to have to go write about that as well. But I appreciate y'all. Have a good night. Be good. Stay safe. And raise hell.